Hello everyone, my name is Tani, and today we're here to talk about the pieces of equipment that you need if you want to start as a photographer. So let's go.
You ready? Yeah, you got me running. You got me running, got me running.
So I'm just going to jump into it, right? Number one, camera. So, um, obviously everybody knows if you want to be a photographer, you can't be a photographer without a camera, right? Some people start off by renting, but I bought, and I will definitely recommend buying because it gives you the ability to be creative whenever you want, right? And it gives you the ability to be flexible. I'll definitely recommend that you go for the starter camera, right? It's number one, it's easier to afford. Number two, they actually are good quality, especially nowadays, really good quality. I started off with a Nikon D3400 right here. This was my first ever camera, first ever DSLR camera. Um, and it's served me really well for a couple of years. I actually used it for work. I used it for small events. I actually used it for a concert once actually. um I used to take portraits of different kinds of people and companies, different kinds of people in personal portraits, corporate portraits, all sorts, right? And it really served me well. um up to the point eventually, until I decided to upgrade, right? So I'll definitely say just get a starter camera, start a beginner camera, and you'll definitely be fine. It will also teach you how to go through certain things that you wouldn't probably go through if you had a more advanced camera, right? You will definitely get better at lighting just because you know it's not as accepting to light. I've forgotten how to phrase that, but so yeah, definitely get camera when you're starting because that's what you need. Number two, the second thing you need is a lens, right? If you have a camera, the next thing you're going to need is a lens. Usually, if you're getting a beginner camera, a starter camera, it comes with a at least one kit lens, right? Which is usually an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. This lens is actually really good. I still use mine up till now. Um, Mine actually came with two lenses, right? It came with the 18 to 55, and it also came with the 70 to 300 Nikon. And I've used both many times. Like I said, I've used this to shoot concerts before, um, and it does a really great job. I mean, I wouldn't lie to you, it's not the best lens in the world. You can definitely do better eventually, but starting out, there's no reason why you can't start off with these, especially if you're strapped with cash, or you know or you don't. Yeah, if you don't have a lot of money, or you're just trying to figure out if photography is something you would like to do, definitely get us a starter camera and get starter lenses, and you'll be very fine. Also, I would recommend that you also get a Nifty 50, which is a 50 millimeter lens, 1.8. Most camera manufacturers have that. It's usually a relatively cheap lens compared to like other lenses of similar quality. Um, and it's a great focal length, and also um, it gives you great pictures. It has amazing quality. I use mine up till today, and I love every single bit of it. First time I got it, I realized the difference in quality between that lens and my starter lenses. Like, it was actually mind blowing. So I'll definitely say um, get a 50 millimeter Nifty 50 lens. Um, and it's really great for portraits. So yeah, that's the second thing I would say you should get as a photographer. So number three, since you have a camera and a lens, you will also need this, right? This is a memory card. You put in your camera and it stores your pictures for you, right? Some of you will know that from your phones. Some of you who have had to use phones with memory cards in the past. Um, and just make sure you get a good memory card. I use SanDisk memory cards just because that's what I'm used to. But there are lots of different brands out there who are also good quality, and just make sure that you get one with enough storage space. So I hardly ever fill up my memory cards, to be honest, during shoots. Hardly ever. So I actually don't think I ever have. Even when I shoot events, taking 300, 400, 500. images, right? And they still haven't finished. So just get yourself and this is 32 MB lens, 32 gig lens, sorry. So you know, don't don't be too worried about the kind of the size of the memory card too much unless you're doing video work, right? But yeah, as a photographer, just get yourself a memory card. This is very important. Number four, you need to get yourself a light source, right? The most natural light source, of course, is the sun, God's given light source. Yeah, and you can do that, especially when you're starting out, because you can just go outside with your friends, take pictures of them, learn how to control light, learn how to block light, learn the best times to shoot. And you can also actually do that as a business if you want. Just make sure it's mostly outdoor photographs you're doing, or you could actually, if you have a house, a room with a um if you have access to a room with really really big windows where sun really gets in, then you might be able to actually even do some indoor photography with that. But yeah, you need to get yourself a light source. If you decide you want to go and get external light source, extra light sources, you know artificial light sources, what have you, I would advise that you start off with a speed light. So this is a young speed light. I got it starting out because it was cheap, and it's been pretty good for me. You can see I've had this for about 5 years, and I have no problems with it whatsoever. Um, so it's an amazing speed light. Well, it's a good speed light. I won't call it amazing. I'm sure there are better ones out there. But it works. It's been working for me, and I have no problems with it. So you just get yourself a speed light, or you can get yourself some, relatively cheap lights. There are different brands you can get from, but just make sure you get one with relatively consistent light and something that isn't going to spoil easily, right? So yeah, just make sure you think about what your light source is going to be when you're starting out, because that's very important. Then number five, the fifth thing I think you need to have, and these five things I've just mentioned, including one I'm about to mention, obviously, I believe are actually quite necessary. I believe you need to get yourself a reflector. It's very important. They're very cheap. They're really cheap, and they help your life a lot. Even when you do outdoor photography, indoor photography, whatever way, they help you shape light. They help you turn a one light setup into a two light setup. They help you block light. They help you, they do all sorts of things. For example, this is my reflector, right? It has 5 different sides that you can use. It has a diffuser, it has a white side, it has a gray side, it has a black side, and the golden side. So those are 5. I think I mentioned the diffuser as well. So yeah, those are 5 sides it has, and they all have different uses. So definitely get yourself a reflector. Finally, I am going to mention a couple, like 2 other things that I believe that you can get. That will be the next things you should get, right? If you're getting yourself a speed light or another light, right, it will be helpful to get yourself light stands, right? For example, this is what the light stand looks like. You should get yourself one, and if after you've gotten a light stand, you should also get yourself a piece of triggers. So I use this trigger. It's an X2T trigger, but I also use these are Godox Remix triggers, right? They're cheaper, they're easier to get. They're not as good as the others, but they work just as well. The Remix triggers work with pretty much any light I've ever seen. The Godox triggers only work with certain Godox lights, as far as I know. So you can do whatever. The only thing is that the Remix triggers, you can't really control the light, the power of the lights from the trigger. But anyways, those are just some of the things that I think you should get. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great life, have a great day. Bye bye.